Ryan Bellencourt. Welcome to Funktified Food. I'm a singer-songwriter by trade, but I love to cook, and people seem to like what I eat. And people are always asking me, how do I make this? How do I make that? And instead of just writing out an ingredients list, I thought I would make some videos to show people some of the things that I like to make. I'll try to make it nice and easy. I'll show you the simple ways to do things so you don't have to go get a bunch of fancy ingredients. And today I'm going to do one of the things that people ask me about the most is how to make pizza crust, and also that people are always asking about my barbecue chicken pizza. So I'll show you how to make the crust. This is sort of a recipe I came up with because when I first started cooking I didn't like to bake, and so what I did was I came up with sort of a better recipe for a prepackaged pizza mix. These are the things I like to add. I add them first. A half a teaspoon of kosher salt. Don't forget, kosher salt is different from regular salt. If you just have table salt, feel free to just use half that much, just use a quarter teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. That's just gonna help it rise a little bit more. 1 tablespoon of sugar. This is just regular white sugar. That'll just make it a little bit sweeter. And 2 tablespoons of gluten. Gluten is the stuff that sort of makes it a little bit chewy. It'll make it rise a little bit more. It's generally good stuff. And unless you have celiac disease, then you can't have gluten, and I feel sorry for you. You'll want to use whatever your pizza dough tells you to. My pizza dough mix that I have, it's a 6.5 ounce prepackaged pizza dough mix. Most of them are about the same, so about a half cup of water. If it tells you something different, do whatever it tells you to do. The water should be hot. It should be, your tap water should be able to get hot enough. It'll be right around 110, 120 degrees. And just go ahead and stir that up. You just want to sort of incorporate all of this in there till it's all mixed in there. There we go. You see it's starting to bubble. It's starting to all start to get combined. There we go. We're ready to add the rest of the pizza mix. And this is, if you don't have all this other stuff, this will work by itself. I don't think it's quite as good without the extra ingredients, but it basically, it has the yeast and some flour and some baking soda or baking powder already right in there. Just go ahead and add that right in. Once it starts to get a little too thick to stir, this is where you get your hands dirty. You just get right in there, don't be afraid. You'll see it starts to come together pretty nicely. For one reason or another, a lot of these mixes I think are just a little bit too sticky. They don't have quite enough flour. And at least makes it a little harder to work with. So what I like to do is have just a little extra. I use bread flour. The bread flour has a little extra gluten in it, has a couple other things. And if it's not sticking to your hands, you'll know it's a pretty good sign. The reason I like this recipe is you don't have to knead it a lot. I have some other good recipes. Maybe I'll show you some of these other recipes in another show that are a little more labor intensive. And I'm just sort of forming it into a ball. You want to sort of try to get the cracks out of it. You want to sort of make the surface area smooth if you can. And you'll get it to where it doesn't stick. You don't have anything left on your hands. That's how you know it's right. If you sort of make a dent in it, you'll see it sort of returns back out. That's how you'll know it's ready. The next step, take just a little bit of olive oil and just sort of coat it in oil. And this is sort of another, you can fill in a few more of those cracks now that you have the oil on it. Put it in a bowl, cover it with a little bit of plastic wrap. If you're in a bowl like this, you'll know that it's ready when it comes all the way up to the top of the bowl. It will actually double in size. And once it doubles in size, you can take just a normal plate and just sort of make a pizza shape on the plate. I like to push the dough just a little bit over the edge. You'll see it sort of sticks up over the edge, and that's what's going to make your crust a little bit bigger. People always wonder how you get that nice doughy crust. If you just sort of push it around the edge, it'll sort of drip on there and look a little funny. Cover it with plastic wrap. Just a minute, we'll show you how to bake it. I have a couple little tricks that are going to make your pizza even better. Alright, let's make that barbecue chicken pizza. I'm going to show you a little trick. If you ever wonder, why you can't get that crisp caramelization on the bottom of your crust, this is going to solve all your problems. I have a cast iron pan. If you don't have a good cast iron pan, go buy one. They're cheap, they'll last forever. You know, you'll still have this same pan 50 years from now. And they only get better. About a tablespoon or so of butter. So we take that crust, this has risen twice, it rose once in a ball, spread it out and it rose on the pan. We'll see why I like to sort of hang the edges over. One, it sort of likes to go back to its original spot a little bit, but also you'll get this sort of nice crust on the edge. There we go, and you can see this is sort of the beginning of the outer crust. What I like to do is pre-cook this for about 2 minutes. All right, we're about ready to take this pizza out. It's pre-cooked about two minutes. And I like my oven nice and hot. It's at 475. And you'll see that it's starting to cook. You'll see some of these air bubbles forming. It's sort of getting that crust on the edge. And it's a good time now. It sort of gets a chance to cook the top without getting soggy. I like to put some cheese on before we actually put the sauce on. I have some Colby. I have 3 of my favorite cheeses. They're all sort of soft cheeses, so they might get a little bit wet, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. All right, the next cheese we're going to put on is this is just some fresh mozzarella. I bought a ball of it. And it has a little higher moisture content again, but I think it should be fine. We might end up with just a little bit of liquid on there. And this cheese sort of, as it heats up, will melt across, and this sort of gives the crust a little bit more chance to cook. That's why I like to use chunks instead of shredded, although I do use shredded from time to time. Next up is the sauce. This is the barbecue sauce. This is actually my favorite barbecue sauce. And you can use your favorite barbecue sauce. If you have a local joint that you like their barbecue, you can pick it up. If not, every store has a huge variety of barbecue sauces these days. Next up, I grilled some chicken earlier today, and I just cut it up. This is about 1 chicken breast. Then I like to put a little bit more cheese. This is Havarti. Again, it's sort of like a creamy cheese. This will all just sort of melt and meld everything together. All right, final few ingredients. We got some bacon that I cooked up earlier. Cook it about how you like. I like mine nice and crispy, so I cook it so it has a little bit of crunch to it. And then both for a little more crunch and for a little color, I have carrots. You can buy these in the store. They're already sort of shredded like this. I like to use red onions. Again, I like the flavor, but I also like the color that it adds. I like to put just a little more barbecue sauce on top. There we go. All right, we'll put it back in. I like to do it for about 8 more minutes. Same temperature, and you might find that you want to watch it at this point because you might need a little more, a little less, and at the end we're going to broil it a little bit. Here we are. I'm taking the pizza out. I cooked it for about 10 more minutes. You just kind of have to watch it. You'll see the cheese will sort of start to brown, and then what I like to do at the very end is just broil it. And what that does is you'll kind of get this, caramelization a little bit on the outer crust, and you'll see these spots will start to form. When people say they want the cheese to brown, you'll start to get these brown where it starts to bubble just a little bit. And what that does is it'll sort of spread the cheese out. If I'm lucky, I won't drop it all over. And there you have it, barbecue chicken pizza.
Sometimes it's strange to be silent.
Thanks for watching this segment of Funktified Food. My name's Dan Valancourt. You can, if you want to get the music that you've been hearing on the show or a whole bunch more music, you can find it on iTunes, or you can go to danvalancourt.com and find out more about me and my music. That's about it. I'm hungry, so I'm going to kick you out and I'm going to enjoy my pizza. I'll see you guys next time on Funktified Food.